victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
President Trump pushing ahead with his America First agenda.
Breaking news, Apple announced it's going to work with Foxconn to build a server factory in Texas by 2026.
The company says it is now planning to invest $500 billion in the U.S. economy.
The CEO of SoftBank pledging to invest $100 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years.
This is President Trump delivering on the promise he made to the American people on the campaign trail.
The idea is come to America, build greatness in America, build for the American customers.
Project Stargate. It's a joint venture between SoftBank, Oracle, and OpenAI, and they're going to create a data center that will eventually be expanded to other states.
Shows people are listening to Mr. Trump's pitch to bring new industry to America.
This is the latest pledge from a foreign business leader promising to spend big in the U.S. as a result of Trump's election victory.
Founder of the property development company DeMac Properties is pledging the money.
President Trump announcing $100 billion investment from Taiwan Semiconductor, bringing the company's total American investments to $165 billion.
The most powerful AI chips in the world will be made right here.
Money's rolling in, and this is in the past 60 some odd days, Charles.
These are deep-pocketed folks who want to have a relationship, and it's just smart moves.
We are CMA CGM, one of the leaders in shipping and logistics around the world. Today, we are investing $20 billion.
Foreign leaders from around the world, investors from Silicon Valley to Wall Street to Main Street have confidence again in our economy and our markets and in President Trump.
The Trump effect this morning, a string of massive wins for American manufacturing. The numbers speak for themselves. Wisconsin-based Clarios is putting up $6 billion to expand its American operation. And what's driving these decisions? Well, President Trump's aggressive Made in America policies and his commitment to bringing industry back to American soil. This is exactly what Trump promised. America First is back.
And yet I have a little bit of a chill. I mean, a little bit, goosebumpy on the skins here, because this is Liberation Day. I don't know what to expect, but I know he's got something huge planned. So I was sitting back early this morning figuring out what am I going to do as my intro? How are we going to, spend the next hour before President Trump comes on stage or at the podium, excuse me, at 4 o'clock to tell us what he's going to be doing. And I thought the best way to do it would to stay away from the naysayers. You're going to hear enough naysaying. You're going to hear enough people complaining. You're going to hear just all kinds of stuff. You're going to hear it from people manipulating the stock market, putting money on stuff that they hope that goes down. They're going to be short selling. They're going to be doing everything to try and hurt this market. But what I want you to pay close attention to are the people who are smiling and the people who are frowning and bitching. Because that should tell you volumes. It should speak volumes to you. When you see people complaining and whining, they're not on the winning side. Winners don't complain. Losers complain. When you hear the other countries say, oh, it's going to be horrible, you don't see us saying that. You see the entirety of the administration going, we need this. We need to get back to where we used to be. And speaking of where we used to be, I want you to listen to a young man here who had some ideas years ago.
Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
Yeah, that young man had some sort of crystal ball. He didn't know he was going to be in this position one day. But back then, 30 years ago, he was like, this is crazy. We're feeding the world. The world is laughing at us because we're the ones giving them anything, and they're sticking us with tariffs, i.e. taxes, while they're sitting there getting fat and happy off of America. Robin and I had a discussion earlier, and she's like, I've always had this question, and that question was, when you look at the debt clock, she watched the video I put up yesterday, she's like, who do we owe money to? Where'd this debt come from? Where's the loan agreements? Show me where we took out these $36 trillion in loans and find out where'd the money go? Because if we owe $36 million, that means we borrowed a whole lot of money, and if people are charging us interest, anybody got a copy of these loans? Anybody have an idea how much was given to America? And then if there were loans, where'd that money go to? With everything that we've been seeing with Doge over the last month or so, now you got to start asking questions. Debt clock, if all these people have been feeding from us, if USAID was sending out billions and hundreds of millions all over the world, who the hell do we owe money to? Next question. This is a big one. Joe Biden and other people have said, let's have debt forgiveness. Let's go ahead and just not make people pay student loans. Okay. What if we just said, we're going to reset this debt clock to zero. Sorry, it's going to be zero. What would happen? Well, ordinarily, if you owe somebody money, there's usually some kind of recourse that they would have to come after you. Take your house, take your car, seize your bank account, things of that nature. What are you going to do if the biggest economy in the world says, you know what, we're resetting this to zero, we're starting over? Just some fantasy of mine, because I've never heard anybody say what would happen. We hear the fears being it's going to hurt the full faith and credit of the United States government. What does that mean? They're not going to want to do business with us? We're going to have to pay? So if we reset this thing to zero and we're flush, and you're like, hey, listen, you're on a cash-only basis at this point, we just don't buy from you. I don't know. You tell me. Is it stupid? Might be. Might be just a little bit of a fantasy. But if everybody else can wipe out debt, how come we're stuck with $36 trillion, and who do we owe it to? Show me. Oh, China's lent us a whole bunch of money. Really? Show me. Show me the wire transfer coming in and show me where that money went. Supposedly, everything we've been told in the media is that we owe all this money. To who? Saudi Arabia? Show me. Why is it that the American people have never seen any documentation ever about who we supposedly owe? If you owe a mortgage, you can download your mortgage. If you owe a car loan, you can go find your car loan. And in regards to a mortgage, anybody can find it. Just put the address in and you do a title search, you can find out who's got the promissory note and how much the mortgage is. Why is it that we can't figure out specifically who all these creditors are that America owes money to? Why is it a ghost? Why is it something that they're hiding? All these thoughts that I'm having right now, I'm not sure if you guys have had them, but it's something that just started happening with me as I've been watching Doge and going, so if all this stuff here we see is fraud, what about that one? What about this big debt clock that shows 36 trillion? Is nobody else willing to ask that question? Is everybody else just want to run out there in public and protest that America has some austerity ideas that we're going to pull back, may do away with taxes? You're all freaking out about that. Are you not freaking out about who we owe money to and where that money went? Imagine waking up. One of my sponsors here is Home Title Lock. And imagine, like with Home Title Lock, you find out someone took your house because they re-signed the documents and they took out a mortgage. So if that happens, you're going to call the FBI and say, hey, listen, this is fraudulent. And they're going to trace it back and say, well, here's where the money went. Here's the person who put down the loan. Okay, well, why is there no database that we can log into and specifically see, oh, in 2021, China gave us this money. This money that China gave us went here. We can't connect the dots on our national debt. Who knows those answers? Just a thought. As we're talking about, quote, Liberation Day. What kind of liberation would it be if we didn't have a national debt? Is that something that's just been put on the American people, a yoke around our necks to just keep carrying forever so that they could justify taking 30, 40, 50% of your taxes? Nobody asks these questions. What are we paying all these taxes for? Oh, we got to settle the interest on the national debt. Well, show me. Show me how we're doing that. Nobody will show you. Oh, we got to make sure this country is taken care of and that. I'm done. I gave it the office. We did it for too many years. We're done. So if this was truly a Liberation Day, I want to hear a lot of liberating talk today. When we cut to President Trump at 4 o'clock, I want to hear some information that tells us how Americans are going to be better off and unyoked. You know, how are we going to be set free? See, I think something's going to happen that we're not expecting. When you hear the term liberation, I know what the word means. It's sort of like emancipation. we got out of the slavery, and now it seems like we've been put right back into slavery. And I posted, let me see if I can find this, because this came out about, what time? By someone who I kind of trust that the reporting is correct. Let me show this to you guys because this is very, very interesting. Just in, and this was at 2:15, so a little while, about an hour ago. President Trump is considering announcing the External Revenue Service today. This would replace the Internal Revenue Service and ideally abolish all income tax along with it. The U.S. would generate its revenue mainly from tariffs on other countries' goods rather than stealing from hard-working Americans' paychecks. This would be massive for so many American families. I saw that, and it really made me go down this rabbit hole. And I thought to myself, if he comes out today, if he comes out and says, we're going to go with the External Revenue Service and we are no longer going to be charging taxes, that's some liberating stuff for you to hear. And if he says that, wherever you're sitting, wherever you may be in the world right now, if he says that, you are going to hear an audible scream across the country. People will be like, ah! Of course, the Democrats will be like, oh, Democrats out there be like, while the collective rest of us will be like, oh, just like dancing in the street, twerking. Can you imagine? Can you let that even sink into your brain? Can you let that even this would replace the Internal Revenue Service and ideally abolish all income tax along with it. That, my friends, would be liberation. That would change the course of this entire country. Are you ready for it? I'm ready for it. If he were to do something like that, I'd push all your chips in. If you don't have to pay property taxes, if you don't have to pay sales taxes, and depending on what they are, you don't have to pay income taxes, what would that do to your pocket? Down here in Florida, with Ron DeSantis, who I'm sure talks to Trump quite a bit, we have no income tax. He's about to do away with property tax. We have a 6 or 7% sales tax, depending on what you buy, not on groceries. And we survive. Every state's not Florida. Well, I understand that. Florida does it self-sufficient because we have tourism. And tens of millions of people want to be here, and they pay money in hotel taxes and things like that nature. Well, imagine the United States having its form of tourism tax, and it's called a tariff. It can be done. I'd love to see the math, but obviously, I don't know how Nick got a hold of that information, but he put it out there, and not sure where it came from. And it just keeps happening. I mean, SV just sent me this information, which I was going to get to, but he beat me to it. It says Milbank to provide at least $100 million of legal services to the Trump administration to combat activist judges. So a bank is going to put up $100 million to fight activist judges. Let that one sink in. Trump posted about it here on Truth Social. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, because I heard this. It's funny, SV said it to me. We kind of like sink our minds on these things. But here's what he wrote. Today, President Trump and Milbank announced the following commitments regarding a series of actions to be taken by Milbank. Milbank will perform at least $100 million in pro bono legal services during the Trump administration. $100 million. Our pro bono committee will include partners at the firm with diverse political ideologies to ensure that pro bono matters are consistent with the objectives of the firm. Milbank will not deny any representation to any clients. You guys can redesign your own. Milbank acknowledges and it commits itself to merit-based hiring. It's not going to engage in any DEI. And then the statement from the White House. Milbank approached President Trump and his administration stating their resolve to help end the weaponization of the justice system and the legal profession. The president continues to build an unrivaled network of lawyers who will put a stop to partisan lawfare in America and restore liberty and justice for all. And Scott Edelman, the chairman of Milbank, after constructive dialogue with President Trump, Milbank is pleased that we're so quickly able to find common ground. Our agreement is consistent with Milbank's core values. So he just got a major law firm who is going to, or has committed $100 million to fighting activist judges. Game on. Right now, game on. He has a major law firm that is now going to be doing all this stuff, in addition to everything that happens with Liberation Day. All right, so let's continue with more information on just exactly what these tariffs mean.
All right, here we go. Liberation Day. President Trump is set to roll out a wave of tariffs to advance America First's economic agenda. It's going to rebalance trade. And the White House says they're going to go into effect immediately.
Lucas Thomason joins us live from Washington. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, Lawrence, Ainsley, and friends. Today is what President Trump calls Liberation Day, when these new tariffs will be rolled out. Champions of free trade, going back to Adam Smith's invisible hand, don't believe they will work. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says they will.
They will be effective immediately. And the president has been teasing this for quite some time. They're not going to be wrong. It is going to work. And the president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying these issues for decades. And we are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower.
Now, while details are not immediately clear, this is what we know ahead of President Trump's address this afternoon. The reciprocal tariffs could be less than what other countries charge the U.S. Rates may vary depending on country. The new tariffs could also apply to all countries, and sector-specific products such as steel and aluminum imports are already subject to a 25% tariff, and the car and auto parts import tariff are expected to begin today. The money will begin coming in tomorrow. And Goldman Sachs has raised the odds of a recession in the U.S. to 35%. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro says the new tariffs will bring in $6 trillion over the next decade, which is being called the largest peacetime tax hike in modern history, which will be paid for by the American consumer. Navarro said all
right, so $6 trillion. Estimated first decade revenue from the tariffs. $6 trillion. That's a kind of a big number. And so what you're hearing Fox infuse here a little bit is, hey, it's going to be, somewhat of a tax on Americans. You're going to have to pay more. Notice they never say how much. Again, another fear tactic to keep people worried. What I love today is I put up a poll earlier, and as of right now, it seems as though almost 4,000 people have voted in this poll. Granted, most of you are Trump supporters. 93, the question, are you willing to absorb some short-term pain for some longer-term gain? 93% of people, 93%, a huge plurality, have said yes. Only 7% of people have said, no, I can't afford any pain. And I would venture to say that most of those people who voted, I can't absorb any pain, are probably on a fixed income or on Social Security, maybe retired. So in that regards, you need to know who it is that might have a problem and who's going to be okay. And at this point, it seems like the overwhelming majority of Americans are like, if this fixes things, yeah. And what I want to equate it to is, I had a cold a couple weeks ago. It took a long time to get over it. I had to go through some short-term pain. My throat hurt. There were problems. I had to take some cough medicine and have the lozenges right here so I could take a lozenge in between videos playing or something. But then the medicine that you take, the antibiotic that you take, helps you get through the pain you are feeling to the gain. You're back to normal. In your own life, you know this. No matter what you've done, no matter what task you have to accomplish, no matter what job you're doing, in order to get that paycheck at the end of the month or every 2 weeks, you go through something sometimes people don't like to do. You got to get up in the morning, and Monday through Friday, you got to go do your labor, get your job done, and you get paid every 2 weeks or every week or whatever. You're going through some short-term pain for some big gains. Most of us understand that. We've lived through that. So why is this all of a sudden an issue? If they're saying, hey, listen, it might be 30, 60, 90 days before you personally see an effect, what's the problem with that? Buckle up. It's about to get crazy. But it's getting crazy for the better, not the worse.
Tariffs alone will bring in $100 billion per year. And President Trump has acknowledged prices could rise, but said people are going to start buying American-made cars, guys.
Hey, Lucas, could we have last-minute deals, too? We saw Vietnam and Israel change their trade structure. We accepted that. Could the president be working the phones today, getting calls from other countries?
With President Trump, of course, he's known as a deal maker, guys. You saw what Israel did. They zeroed out their tariffs in the United States. Right. So perhaps we could have some last-minute deals. Mm-hmm. All it takes Lucas, is a post on X.
There you go. Indeed. And Lucas, did you say that one of those big investment firms says there's a 35% chance of a recession now?
I did, Steve. Goldman Sachs, they raised it up to 35%. It was like 15, 20% earlier because of the tariffs. You'll have to watch the markets with the opening bell.
Lots to talk about. Yeah. Lucas, thank you very much. He mentioned we got to watch the markets. Originally, this announcement was supposed to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the Rose Garden. But then they moved it back smartly because whatever is announced is going to impact the markets. What Wall Street hopes is there is some clarity, because right now businesses, they can't plan because they don't know, is it going to be drips, drabs? They're going to announce something today, something else next week. They need to know long term whether or not they should invest money in new plants here in the United States.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ducey, that's a crock. That's a complete crock. You know right now as a business, if you're overseas, if you're foreign, there's not much you don't know. You know if you're tariffing us, he's going to, as he's called them, reciprocal tariffs. So if you've been sending stuff over here, but everything that goes into your country, you've been saying, hey, it's going to cost you 15, 20, or 25% for American products to land over here, you know what's coming. There is no equivocation. These are reciprocal tariffs. So unless you want to make it zero both ways, which I'm sure he'd be willing to do, you already know what you're about to get hit with. There is no ambiguity here. If you're hitting us, he's going to hit you back. That's why so many of the countries and companies that I showed you in the opening have learned, oh, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and do some stuff here in America because we need to. We need to do it here because it's going to be too expensive to do it elsewhere. And the thing he said about the market, well, he just gave you a secret. And it was something I said earlier, and it's on the bottom of my lower third here. Be ready for stock market manipulation. You're going to see billionaires and rich people who are anti-MAGA, who are anti-America. They're going to begin doing things to try and make the stock market drop. And so Trump was very smart because today, instead of going at 3 o'clock, he's doing this at 4 o'clock. The market closes at 4 o'clock. And when the market closes, he's going to give his speech. He's probably going to be a little bit late to make sure it's completely shut. And at 4:15, he's going to come out and say whatever he needs to do. Then the overnights, which they call the open or implied open, what they think the stocks are going to be tomorrow morning. That's where you're going to see a whole lot of movement, a whole lot of fluctuation, because people are going to be getting ready to buy and sell and overseas, and they're doing things on the back end, and it won't hit till tomorrow morning. And so what they're going to try and do is tank the market early. They're going to want to see it go down 7, 8, 1,000 points in the morning because they need to have that fear. They have to have that fear. If it doesn't go down tomorrow morning, they're in big trouble. So if you're watching this right now, before he does these tariffs, if you have any available discretionary money, you get ready to buy some dips. I'm telling you right now, go to E-Trade. If you don't have somebody, I can't tell you what to do, but a prudent person at this point is going to watch very, very closely what happens at the open tomorrow. What's going to happen at the open tomorrow, and then by noon, maybe by 2 o'clock, millionaires are going to be made. You're like, what do you mean, Barry? Because you're going to see extreme dips, and then as soon as you see the extreme dips, there are going to be a whole bunch of people, just sort of like the movie Trading Places with, what's his name, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, when he goes, ready? Nope. Bye! And then everything's going to go crazy. The right stocks, the right things, that's what's going to happen. I can't tell you what stocks, wouldn't tell you anyway. I'm not going to get myself in any sort of SEC violation, but I'm just telling you to watch. About 9 o'clock in the morning, turn on Fox or CNBC and watch this thing go way down. Way down. I bet you it goes 600-700 within the first hour. But then watch. And you'll learn the lesson yourself. Over 24 or 48 hours, you're going to see that curve, and it's going to begin coming back. Because right there at that bottom, this point right here where people see it, and they think that's going to be the bottom, you're going to see a lot of capital jump in. Because at that point, people are like, okay, the short-term pain is over, even though it might be 12 or 24 hours. Now it's time for the long-term gain. So, and if you're someone who's on a surfboard and you're like, I don't really know what to do, then it might be a good time for you to get involved in some gold or silver as a hedge, and like making sure you're okay as the earthquake is happening in the markets. I'm like, I'm good. I'm really good. I've got some gold and silver. But tomorrow, next 24, 48 hours, expect it. Understand there are nefarious people and there are profit takers who are going to be watching very closely at tomorrow at about 9 o'clock. And they're all going to sit back and they're going to, it's to me, as someone who is normally averse to risk, it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
The worry is if they invest to build a factory here in the U.S. and then in a year or two or three or four, free trade comes back, they get screwed by putting all that money back here.
All of this is because Trump wants free and fair trade. He doesn't want America to be taken advantage of, and we have under past administrations. He says not under my watch. You mentioned Vietnam. Vietnam has already cut duties on U.S. imports because of this. They've cut its tariffs and LNG. They cut it down to 2% from 5%. Cars down to 32%. Originally was 45 to 64%. Ethanol, 5%. It was 10%. In India, they reduced tariffs on motorcycles and whiskeys. Mexico, they deployed those 10,000 troops to the border.
Now, realize she's rapid firing. Hey, check out what they're doing here. Bam, da, bam, bam. That's what's going to be happening for an extended period of time. Everybody, he kept telling people, April 2nd, it's Liberation Day. April 2nd, here's what we're going to do. So now everybody's ready. What's going to happen? I mean, what's the stock market at right now? It's probably down. Let me just check it. Dow Jones. It's up 177. So watch what happens. You can almost watch it live. So I'm going to have it open, and it's at plus 177 right now. Looking at the one-day chart, it's doing exactly what I just said to you. Let me just show you something here. I'll keep this window saved so I can get back to it. But let's go ahead and look. Let me see which window would be best. I want you guys to be able to see this. All right. So this is the Dow, and this is the Dow from today. Just one day. It crashed at the open. You can see what happened. It went up, went up, went up, went down. People jump in, buy the dip, goes back up, 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 and then it crashed again. Buy the dip, it goes back up, crashed, buy the dip, goes down, buy the dip. People are in there right now. And if you know what to look at, and you see the trend line is basically almost like a 45-degree angle, watch what happens. Open it up in another window. I'll have it here. I'll keep going back to it. And watch what happens at the close. Because at the close, he will not have spoken. So it closes in 26 minutes. And you're going to see some volatility in the next 26 minutes. And then it's going to stop. Because it closes at 4 o'clock. And then so we'll know what the standard is starting tomorrow. Seeing some questions here. Buy and hold, excellent advice. Just breathe. Understand your 401k is not disappearing. It's resetting. I mean, many people understand when you reset a button, everything may go poof. Thank God, lights everything else here on. We got good weather today. It should be okay. Please. But if something were to happen after a storm, what do you have to do? You have to go around the house. You got to look around. You got to push buttons. You got to reset. In order to get things back to normal, you got to make sure turn off your switches, check your fuses. You got to go out and reset the sprinkler on your lawn. You got to reset everything. Things may not be working correctly. That's what we're about to see. We're about to see a reset button get hit at about 4:15 or 4:20. And when that reset button gets hit, all hell's going to break loose. And the reason I'm not trying to harp on this, I'm trying to just let you guys know what's about to happen. And yesterday I had an interview with a crisis management guy, and I kind of baited him, and I said, is all chaos bad? And he knew exactly where I was going because he's a professional. He's like, no, all chaos is not bad. We're about to see chaos, just to let you know. We're going to see people just lose it. Absolutely. Even though they know it's coming. Even though they know it's coming. My job is to try and give you as much information so you woosah, Let's continue.
To help with the immigration problem. The EU is proposing lowering tariffs on car imports from 10% closer to the 2.5% that Donald Trump wants. Canada unveiled a $1.3 billion security plan for the U.S. and pledged to have this fentanyl czar. So those are some examples. But as far as investments are concerned, Johnson & Johnson investing $55 billion. We heard from Apple, $500 billion. SoftBank, OpenAI, Oracle, $100 billion. Hyundai, $20 billion in the U.S. Nissan, $661 million. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. So it's working. Those are investments. It might, in the short term, be a little painful for Americans, but overall, this is about being fair.
A lot of it has to do with this unplanned.
Before he continues, SV just sent me a little bit more breaking news. So you can start to see people are putting their markers on the chessboard here at this point. And they're also going up to, the wager window and seeing which one, where we're going to put a bet on here. Somebody asked me, do I use E-Trade? No, I just said E-Trade because it's easy. I call it Easy Trade if somebody wanted to do something. But check this out. Just in, Mark Zuckerberg just met with President Trump at the White House to lobby Trump to end the federal antitrust lawsuit against Meta. Hell no. Zuck is a snake, and as soon as the case is dropped, he's going to ramp up his attacks on conservatives. So let me just tell you, that's not the only thing he was talking about. I would have loved to have been a fly on that wall. You think they were just talking about the antitrust suit? You know the guy is really got a whole lot of money. And right now, you're starting to see people, it's almost like the new Godfather. When, when Don Corleone died and Michael went to the funeral, and they're like, who's coming for you? Well, I think it's going to be Bazzini. And what about Tessio? It's a smart move. And people were jockeying around Bazzini because they thought Bazzini didn't think Michael was going to be the big dog. A lot of people don't think Trump's going to be the big dog. So people right now are making their talks and making their moves because they're not really sure what's going to happen. And then on top of all this, there is no Bazzini on the left. Who are you going to go cut a deal with over here? You got nothing. There's absolutely no leader. And so at this point, it's either cut a deal with Trump or try to do something nefarious over the next few years to stop him. Because what is going to happen if this thing goes like I think it will go? People will be dancing in the streets because they will be so prosperous. They will make so much money. Even people who don't have a lot to start are going to see more in their paychecks. Life is going to be different. Democrats can't counter this. The only thing they can try and hope is that it's not going to work. See, there's a piece of this that not a lot of people are talking about. And what Trump was hoping to have done, which I'm pissed at Mike Johnson and Anna Paulina Luno and those morons who didn't get this thing done before now. And what I'm talking about is the tax implications. Because without renewing the Trump tax cuts, it's problematic for the tariffs. You got to have the tax cuts because what's going to happen is invariably people are going to see certain things cost more. But you could explain to people, but it's not going to be that bad because you're getting tax cuts. We renewed the tax cuts, so you're not going to see a bump, because this and this is going to happen. So he didn't get the tax cuts done. So those are set to expire as he's doing the tariffs, which is somewhat problematic. That is something he is going to have to get done quickly, and I think the rhinos are trying to slow this thing down. All this is happening. Remember, this is 90 days? 90 days in with everything that's happening with the judges and the rhinos and the Democrats and the protests. He just keeps going. They can't stop him if they actually, do what they're supposed to do.
We've never seen this before. These are 10 times as big as the tariffs the president had last time. They were so effective. Joe Biden left them all in place. Everyone said the sky was going to fall. It didn't. These are about the size of William McKinley's, where he raised taxes on imports 50% in the 1890s. And it is the template President Trump has went with. Steve, you mentioned about building factories here. And are we going to build a factory here and end up zeroing out the tariffs? I don't think it's ever not going to benefit under the Trump years any company from coming back to America, down to zero, or coming to America.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things they balanced out in the 80s. Everything was targeted when Donald Trump first came out and said, Japan's our problem, and cars, we're losing our leadership in cars. All of a sudden, Japan goes, what if I build Toyotas by you? What if I brought Honda there? And then we began to rebalance, and throughout most of the South, you got the Hyundai away from the unions, the Honda and
Apple in
Toyota.
Texas.
One person that continues to be a great messenger, not just for the Republican Party, but for Donald Trump, knowing the Trump speak, is Kellyanne Conway. I think this has become a patriotic message. You build here. This is for our workers here. It's a national security issue. We can't be getting our PPE. We saw what happened during the pandemic. We're getting all of this stuff from other countries. Kellyanne Conway explained what the president is trying to do.
Now, before we go to Kellyanne, it's a very simple explanation. I mean, he just kind of relied on it. When we got the thing, the C-19, we had to go overseas and we had to rely on them to ship us masks. Everything we have here is more expensive because it's not being made here. And there's too many people, too many younger people who don't remember what it was and how this economy thrived when we made stuff here. And over the years, it's just become, commonplace where you turn something over and it says, made in Taiwan, made in China, made in Nicaragua, because we just got used to it. We got lazy, we got cheap, and we accepted it. All this stuff that they talk about, we got to pay them a living wage and we got to do this and we got to do that. But how about if we just stop buying stuff from other countries? Yes, this light would be more expensive. Yes, the camera. I believe this is a Canon. I think Canon is or Sony. What is it? It's Canon. I believe that's a foreign country. The monitors here, foreign country. The computer's American because I had it built. I didn't buy it. But I bet you the stuff inside comes from other countries. So much of what we should be doing. People want living wages. They want better wages. Just imagine if everything you have around you was made or built in America. Like, Barry, that's not feasible. Oh, really? How did we survive for so long where everything was built here? How did these men build companies and build skyscrapers and do all kinds of things? There wasn't a whole lot of people shipping stuff here. The only thing they shipped here was people. Good people. People who wanted to go to work. This is where Trump is trying to bring that back, and we got people fighting it. Why? Why don't you want to see America thrive? I love what Christie says here. Do you understand why they didn't want Trump as president? He is taking our money back from the rich, not just the rich. See, there's nothing wrong with people being rich. He's taking our money back from people who took advantage of us, who have been ripping us off, and now they're going to continue to bash everything he does. Every single move at this point. You are seeing this animal that has been feeding off the carcass of America, the living carcass of America, and it's being told you can't feed here anymore. Like he said, luckily we do have a huge ocean between us. That's why all these people are just completely freaking out. Let's listen to what Kellyanne had to say.
President Trump is using tariffs to, one, raise revenues for this country, two, to recalibrate and make more reciprocal our trade imbalance with other countries. You listed all the ones which are egregious violations of any kind of common sense and fairness, Sean. And also, President Trump is trying to protect American sovereignty, American security, American manufacturing, American jobs, America herself. I think President Trump would tell a lot of these companies, if not countries, tariffs are not his choice, they're your choice. If you don't want these tariffs, then start building more factories here, expanding your facility capacity, investing more in American workers, American innovation.
That sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? It's not a novel concept. You don't have to pay these tariffs. Do business here. It's that simple. Then why is NBC and CBS and ABC and CNN and MSNBC, why are they screaming? Because they're not working in the best interest of Americans. And you can tell this by what their challenge and what they're advocating for. You see, they go to the heart of things and they never look big picture. They will say, this won't work. It can't work. It doesn't, it's crazy. Why? Why won't it work? Well, it's going to cost more. Again, they look to the most minimal of us. They want the poor and they want the newcomers. And they want those people to feel as though they're looking out for them, but not the entire country. Well, Barry, can't you say the opposite about Trump? He's looking for people who are self-sustaining and he's not looking to help the poor people? No, he is. Not a single, it's all a lie in terms of people saying he's cutting Social Security and he's cutting, Medicaid or no, it's all BS. See, here's where the real problem is. If the economy starts booming like this should cause it to boom, and you got all these companies coming in here and building this and building that and doing this, your welfare is going away. I'm just telling you, if there's anybody in here watching and you're on SNAP benefits and you're on welfare and you're able-bodied and able-minded, you're not going to be able to do that. That's scaring a lot of people who have been, basically feeding off the rest of us. I'm not talking about people who are sick. I'm not talking about people who have a disability. Those people, veterans, people, will take care of you. I'm talking about the mom that used to watch, Jerry Springer and eating bonbons and having 6 kids that we're paying for who doesn't do anything. That ain't gonna work anymore. You're gonna have to get your man who had those kids with you and tell him to get his butt to work. And then you're gonna have to go work and put these kids in daycare. We'll help you with that. The free rides for so many people are about to come to an abrupt halt. This is what they're gonna be screaming about. Get your butt off the couch and go work. Sorry, this is how you build America back, having everybody putting some skin in the game. If it means, and this is the other thing, maybe you don't want to leave Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I love it, Miami. I love Fort Lauderdale, right down by the beach. But you know what? Your job's going to be in South Dakota. Step. Get out there. You're going to have to change your lifestyle because you don't have, the government's going to have to show you how to change your lifestyle because you don't have the brains to understand what you need to do to take care of your family. Sitting around and having somebody else pay for it so you can hang out with the girls and go to the hairstylist every week and get your fake eyelashes like Jasmine Crockett. Nah. You're going to have to go to work. See, that sounds bad to some people. That sounds racist to some people. That sounds like a Nazi to some people. No, that's the truth. It's biblical. You don't work, you don't eat. Especially if you're able-bodied. There are going to be so many jobs. You're going to find out this company's coming here. They're going to bring in 15,000 new jobs, 20,000 new jobs. Don't worry about the people who are getting laid off in Washington. All you have to do is go find a job that's opening up someplace else. Until you open the want ads, until you go on Indeed and there's nothing available, then you got to worry. Right now, you got a resume, you work for the government, who knows what you did, but now you're going to be in that thing called the open market. And that job may be in Maine. That job may be in New Mexico. In any event, just like Sam Kinison said about people in Africa, you got to go where the water is. Nobody else is feeling bad, can't feel bad for you.
Here's a hard truth for you. Tariffs are working, and most people haven't realized it yet. You wouldn't know that if you read the mainstream media headlines. All you have to understand is the mainstream media keeps telling you the world's going to end. They say that the economy is on the verge of the next great global financial crisis. They predict that inflation is going to come raging back, and your portfolio is obviously poised to lose big in the coming weeks. I completely disagree. None of that's true. In fact, the exact opposite's been happening. Inflation, according to Trueflation, which is a real-time alternative inflation measurement, it went from 3% back in December, and now it's dropped to 1.4% this week.
Did you know that? Are you following the statistics or are you following the fake news? Because if you're watching the statistics, what Joe here is about to show you is that you've been lied to. All of this stuff is verifiable. Continue.
That's a massive drop of more than 50%. Gasoline prices, those are at 4-year lows. Egg prices, they've fallen off a cliff as well.
Again, go to Gas Buddy. You can look up the gas prices across the country, and you can look at your own area, and there might be a gas station that's maybe a couple of miles away, but you're going to see the prices are falling. Nobody is making this stuff up. This is real. This is 100% real. You just have to know where to get the data.
If someone's worried about inflation right now, in my opinion, they should question whether they actually understand how the economy works. Our biggest issue at the moment has nothing.
If someone's worried about this, they may not know how the economy works. That should go on a t-shirt, because they don't teach people how to understand what the economy does. That when you turn on the news, they've got some expert telling you this or that, and he doesn't disclose, yeah, I'm being paid by MSNBC. Yeah, I'm being paid by CBS or CNN. So, dude, the money you're getting from CNN, tell us what you're doing with that money. Since, the sky's falling, we just let me know. You put it in a paper bag under your bed, or are you investing it? Don't lie. Don't lie. See, that's one of the things. Just like with the NASCAR thing, people should say, here's all the people who sponsor me. Pretty easy for me. You guys see, I talked to Lear Capital and Patriot Attic for knives and things like that. You can see it. You don't see this in the government. You don't see it with the people in the news. As far as you're supposed to believe, hey, everything's fine, and this is John from CNN. I'm telling you, here's what's going to happen. John, save me some time, John. Pull out your portfolio and just put a screen. Put a graphic up here. Oh, John's got 20,000 shares of this, 10,000 shares of this. He owns two houses, and he also has 3 cars, and he's just getting ready to buy another condo at the beach. But you ain't going to say that. You're going to tell everybody else it sucks. Meanwhile, you're hitting the button and buying everything you possibly can. If you don't think the economy is working, you don't understand the economy, or you're not in the economy. Being a consumer and not an investor is always going to keep you chasing the wheel that the media wants you to be on. Now, I'm not saying be an investor and you got to be able to buy stock or buy that. You can invest in your education. It's free. You can educate yourself as to what's going on in the market. Anthony has just showed you, I called him Joe earlier. Anthony has just showed you 2 charts that are free. Every single one of you right now can go to gasbuddy.com. Go to GasBuddy and look for yourself. Put in a zip code. See where the gas prices are anywhere in the country. They'll show you. Don't rely on CNN and NBC or even Fox, to that matter. Do your own research. Invest in your mind. That's the best place you can invest.
Do with economic acceleration. Our biggest issue is actually a potential economic slowdown. All this tariff talk has got people a little uncertain. But on top of that, we're now seeing foreign countries, Israel and Vietnam just yesterday. These foreign countries are dropping their tariffs against the U.S. because they're anticipating the Trump administration's reciprocal tariff program. That program is supposed to be announced later today. The whole point of a reciprocal tariff is that it says to foreign countries, you can tariff us however you want, but we're going to match you. And so if you don't want us to tariff you, then make sure you're not tariffing us. And
doesn't that just sound the most simplistic of things that nobody on the left will ever tell you about? We're not actively going against some country. We're not singling some country out and saying, you know what, we're America, we're going to beat up on you. No. You see, these people on the left, they accept countries beating up on us. They want you submissive. They don't want you fighting back. Most people don't even know how many different things Canada tariffs on Americans. Every show you watch on television is like, Trump's going to ruin things. He's going after our biggest ally. Our biggest ally is bending us over. They don't talk about that. Why? Why is it okay for them to do it to us? Why is it okay that for years these countries have taken advantage of America? And now that there's one president who has stepped in and said, nah, man, this ain't it. We're going to hit you back. Why are people freaking out? Why is that going to upset the economies of different countries around the world? Well, it's because it's not good for America, and they've been allowed to do it for whatever reason for so long. It just seems like it's going to upend their economies, which it will. which is why the smart countries are jumping. Hey, we don't want none of this. Israel, Vietnam. Hey, and today I'm going to show you Canada's like, you know what? If you drop yours, we'll drop ours. Okay. All right. That's what we're trying to get to. Just get us to an even playing field. Why are you resisting? Because you will find out that these countries are nothing more than subsidiaries of the United States. Subsidiaries. They cannot exist on their own. They can't exist and stand up on their own 2 feet without your dollars. And our government for so long has let that be the charade that justifies them taking taxes from you.
You are going to drop your tariffs, we'll drop ours as well. Everyone put your gun back in your holster.
Let's think about that. It's that simple. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. You do you, we'll do us. If you want to sell something here in America, fine. We're going to sell something into your country and let the market decide, not these flipping tariffs. But we're not going to let you do it to us if we're not going to do it back to you. That's the biggest thing you have to understand, because the media won't tell you that. They've hidden this chart of how much Canada, comes at us. Oh, it's our closest ally. Our closest ally has had us bent over with a pillow in our mouth for so long. It's absolutely crazy. So they're getting ready in Rose Garden for President Trump to come out. I can't wait. So let's continue. Let's move.
And discuss this, because it's just going to hurt American jobs. I can't stress it enough. And, again, he believes he's supporting Americans. He said he was going to create jobs, create wealth, reduce inflation. It's worked the total opposite. Inflation.
But do you think it's fair that you have tariffs on a whole number of products?
That's right. And we'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off.
What? You're okay, so you're a couple hours away from getting spanked back by President Trump, and now, after all of your big talk, you're like, we'll stop if he stops. That's what he's been telling you. All for the last couple of weeks. We're going to hit you, Canada. We're going to smack you. It's coming back at you. And now today, you go on CNBC, well, if he stops, we'll stop. He hasn't started. He's going to get you. But now you're waving the white flag, just like we knew Canada and all these other countries would do. Unfortunately, Doug Ford doesn't have the power. He's not the prime minister. But remember the big talk? Oh, we're going to make Americans pay. And so today he goes on CNBC and goes, we're willing not to do it. Yeah, fraud.
We are not the problem. Andrew, do you know the problem is? China's the problem. And he's taking a blind...
I couldn't have made this up. It's not us. I'm sorry. Don't blame us. I know we charge you 200% on milk and 200% on this and the other thing, but it's them. They're the big problem. Dude, you should have stopped while you were ahead. You should have just said, "Can someone get the word to President Trump? If you don't do us, we won't do you." Okay. Problem solved. Problem solved. That's what he's trying to do. Get to an equitable playing field. So forget the China is bad guy or Russia is bad guy. You're charging us.
To China as they continue to build their critical mineral mass. We have all the critical minerals that our great neighbors need. We have the energy that our great neighbors need.
I just want to go back for a moment. If, in fact, you're prepared to take your tariffs off, why wouldn't you have that negotiation and that conversation now before any tariffs get put in place?
Well, we've had this conversation for over the last month. We don't want tariffs. We have enough.
See, this guy on CNBC, he asked the right questions. Why are you confessing now? The handcuffs are about to come on you for the crime, and now you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to tell you who did it. It was Johnny Owens over here. It was Joe Bag of Donuts. It wasn't me. But, we're willing to stop. We won't fight you anymore. You're waving the white flag. Amazing.
There are $65 billion worth of tariffs to launch today. That's the last thing we want to do, because It's just, again, it's going to hurt both countries. It's going to hurt American workers. That's the last thing I want.
Andrew meant take the other ones off, not the ones you're launching today. The ones that you already got.
You're saying you take all your tariffs off. I'm saying
we will take them off. That's right.
Then why is that not already? I guess my question is, why has all of that not already happened? And does President Trump know that you'd be prepared to do that?
He knows, and Secretary Lutnick knows that we're willing to take these tariffs off like in the next minute if he said he's taking their tariffs off.
It's pretty simple.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh in somebody's pain. But now, all of a sudden, yeah, we'll stop. We'll definitely stop. Oh my goodness, we're getting ready. I got more, but we're getting close, so I may not go too far. Bingo. Yeah, stop, bro. Oh God. Exactly. Why now? All of a sudden, again, what I told you to look for in all of this is who's upset and who's smiling. Who's getting ready to wave the white flag over here and looking sullen, and who's going to come out in the Rose Garden going, I am Mike Tyson. Just tell me who the ref is, because I'm knocking the other guy out. That's what President Trump is about to do. And meanwhile, oh, it's going to hurt Americans, and it's going to hurt. No. You need to go ahead and send a instant message, a telegram, a direct message, or something, and let President Trump know, hey, we're done. We're stopping. Please don't nail us at 4:00. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'll come back to that because I got a bunch more to show you guys, but we're getting close. So again, as normal, I've got 1, 2, 3 different feeds ready to go. So I'm going to go to one feed as soon as it starts. Then I've got the White House direct feed, and so we'll get the one that sounds and looks the best. And it looks like it's going to be a great backdrop. It's outside where they're going to be holding this, and so I'm just waiting for that to begin. Deep State going to do what they do. Yeah, they're gonna fight. More on what's it? How dare you make your terrorists equal to? Oh, Maximus, you're right. How dare you make your tariffs equal to ours? They waited till the last second to suck what they can out of America. I say keep the tariffs on them for a while. Yeah, I mean, it is getting comical. Because the news has told us that this was so awful for Americans, and you can see the look on people's faces from other countries, and you can see that people are trying to do different things, and that Israel and what was the other, Vietnamese, and don't do this to us. Yeah, because everything we look at here has got Taiwan or China on it. Everything, I mean, within arm's length of wherever you're sitting, pick up something and it's going to have China. I don't know. I don't even look anymore. Where is this from? I don't want to spill my drink, but I got this thing. I bet you this wasn't made in America. Who knows? We go to the store. There should be an entire section in Target or Walmart or whatever. America. And just let people know this was made here. It's always going to be made here. And here's how you can. We don't even know. It used to be remember the thing that was back when we were growing up. Look for the union label, meaning it was made here in America. But they don't even show us that anymore. I'll live in a tent to see this take place. America is going to be rich beyond belief. Liberation Day. It's about to begin in probably next couple of minutes. I'm sure he just verified the stock market is done, closed for the day. Let me go back here and check. I went off the page to see what the Dow ended at today. You guys can check yourself. Let's see. Did we finish up? Yep, we're up 235 points, up half a point on the day at the close. So watch what happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Made in Canada is even worse. Yep, China. Yeah, not everything, Barry. Sometimes it comes from Northern California, USA. Yep, waiting for Trump to come out. It looks like a good audience there, too. That would only be one shelf, Barry. Trump delivered. Why? Because nothing comes from here. Yeah, I mean, just imagine. I'm looking around here. even to like the smallest gadget. I bet you this thing here, it's a chip for potato chip bags or something. I'm like, somebody made this little chip. I bet you it costs like 1.5 cents over in China, and they sell it to us like 3 in a bag or something. But it doesn't say like where it's from. But ever play that game and just start looking around on things and say where was this made or that made? You just have to wonder. All right, so it looks like the man himself is heading out to the Rose Garden. Yeah, it looks like he did indeed wait for everything to stop. So we're going to put him on, and then we'll go ahead and cut to a different feed. I don't know if he's coming out to music or not. And let's see here, but he's walking out. So let's go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years. But it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen.
Let me know if the volume is okay? Let me know if the volume is good.
Of order, instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before. Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so it'd usually be sitting right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't he? And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job, and many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that, friend and foe, and in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Thank you. Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along. I have watched my entire life, I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they got it too. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon. And
That's not me. That's the feed. Hold on. Let me see if it's going with both feeds.
Companies, but car companies in particular, see it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road. When you look a little bit, it's not a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourselves, and you got to? This is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charged Indian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice and other things. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50% once we got involved. They were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first on line. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first. And I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting text on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries. We didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46% and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left. And he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%. Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Howard. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it. They deserve it more than our cabinet. Our cabinet has plenty of hats. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity. And there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth. And I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us. And start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before, and it'll be something very special to watch. I am so looking forward, and Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country, and you see that as before. These are big, rich companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and they already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And they came here to see me, and wanted to know if they could have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now. But here are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. And this is a company that built its factories and its plants in China. Apple is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies, are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced. TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And they said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. DeMac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, I watched a gentleman today on television. He used to work with Lear, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, because they're asking people, they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen, where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but on every single other item that's built. We're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people and all your union workers and your non-union workers out there. You got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people, people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before, with jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news. Always, fake news will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't terminate it. If I didn't terminate that, United Auto Workers, you would have had no jobs in this country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again, I have great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away with it, that's okay. But, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but, and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. It's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far. And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in their place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number one in the polls very rapidly, let's say in the first hour, and then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, "Oh no, don't do this." What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years. But because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and people would say, I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries, but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. If you look at China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers were so big, that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but they couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen, a lot of bad things happened. So when I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig. And we made it too big to rig, and we won in records, and it was a monumental win. And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate, and to more importantly celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about it. The critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in February, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years, and the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, we were there for 4 weeks, and the first week I got blamed for eggs. I said, I just got here. They said eggs have gone up at like 250% and you can't get eggs, and they were going crazy, and I said, I just got here. And then we We got to work on eggs, and we got to work on everything. And our great Secretary of Agriculture, you did a fantastic job. Brooke Rollins, you did a fantastic job. And as I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot. And energy costs now are down, groceries are down, gasoline is way under $3, and people are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down. We created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs, and it was that took place in 1 month, numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years. But after transitioning over to Sleepy Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country. They're the highest inflation in the history of our country, brought up by energy and bad spending and bad policy, and a lot of bad things happened. How about allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now. And I see our great secretary of you have done. Stand up, please, Christy. Stand up. Christy Noem and Tom Homan. These people are doing a great job, but gotten them out in records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tren de Aragua, and they want MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute killer gangs. They kill people. They don't even think about it. And we put them out, and we have judges now, radical left judges that they don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank everybody. Homeland Security, thank everybody. Appreciate it. And we now have a border that's the best border that we've ever had, even better than it was my first term. My first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border. 4 years ago, we had the best border there ever was. And now we have, you've actually matched it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want them to come in through a legal process. We want them to come in legally. We need more people. We need people to run these plants and to help the auto workers and the Teamsters and the non-union people and everybody else. But we need people and the farmers. And we're going to let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country. And now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits, and the Democrats will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw. They were horrible. I think one of the reasons people like the job, I have my highest approval ratings because I think they're comparing me to the worst administration in the history of our country. So I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it, Mike. John Thune have been fantastic, by the way. But they've been working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one big, beautiful bill. I'd like to name it that if you can. One big, I made that statement about 6 months ago, and everybody calls it one big, beautiful bill. And it will be that. It'll have everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is. And it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for an interest deduction on a loan. So if you build the car only in America, we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, you don't get the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car in America, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get an interest rate deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. That's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to pay for itself very quickly, that deduction. Never happened. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, where do you get the idea? Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened a long time ago. It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't, because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and I know you're going to be able to do that, Mike, and it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, because I know they're working together, John and Mike, and the two bills are going very well together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, border, and so much more. We're covering everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no bill like this going to straighten. One bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it and let's get it done. And some guys will love it and some guys will like it a little bit less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot. They'll never, if we get this done, it'll be the most incredible bill ever passed in the history of our Congress and Senate and congressmen, the senators and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, will be very proud of themselves. I really believe that it's going to set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. John, thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators over there. Oh, boy. That's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done. That's a great group. And Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tremendous people. The Senate plan is my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. They're moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and senator must unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the American people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately, get it done, including debt extension. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're all coming back to our country, because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they do, I'll be very happy, and you're going to be very happy, and you're going to be very safe. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to build it with American pride like we used to. We're approaching our 100th day as president and have been given credit by a lot of people, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case hopefully isn't fake, for having done more in that time than any other administration in the history of our country in the first 100 days. I think we've had an amazing, in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. I'd like to see if we can get that war ended and another war from not starting in the Middle East. We have to get Russia. They're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people a day, young people, soldiers, Russian. Think of that. 2,500 through some days, but on average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say. They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, but they're from other countries. But they're human beings. They're from Russia. They're from Ukraine in this period, most of them. And we're going to get it stopped. It's a senseless war that would have never happened if I was president, and it shouldn't be allowed to go on. And I think we're being given good cooperation by Russia and by Ukraine, but we have to get it stopped. It's humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, you all. We have two documents prepared for the president's signature today. One closes what's referred to as the de minimis loophole with respect to imports from the The other is the big one, is the reciprocal tariff executive order that the president just spoke about at length. This is obviously a huge deal, and it's been an honor to be part of your team getting started.
This is big stuff. That's a 10. That's a good one. Yeah. I'm going to hand out these cards.
Mr. President, what do you say to American families who are worried they'll pay more?
So, you heard, he goes on for almost an hour talking about this. And what's the first thing you heard one of the people in the media shout? It's like they ignored everything. What are you going to tell Americans who are going to have to pay more for their stuff? All right, there were a couple of questions during this, and I want to take. And one of the things is, people said, how is this a tax on Americans? I'm going to tell you. And any economist will tell you if they don't lie to you. It's very simple. If you're going to buy something from XYZ country and you buy it, but Trump puts a tariff on their product. Let's make it, something concrete. We got this phone and we're going to buy this instead of buying it from your local phone place. You buy it, I don't know, mail order from Europe. And he says, we're going to put a 20% tariff on everything you send this way. So if this thing was $100, it is now going to cost that company $120. So then that company is now going to, charge more. or the retailer will charge more because they need to absorb the tariff. So that's what's happening. It's not that the retailer is raising the price, which the media will lie to you. It's the product is more expensive because it has a tariff attached to it. That's it. That's all it is. It's going to cost that country an extra 20, 30, whatever percent to bring it in here. And because they're bringing it in here, essentially the retailer is probably going to charge higher because it's going to cost them more to import it. So when they say that it's going to cost you more and you're going to feel well, that's if you buy this. And if you buy this, maybe it goes up by $25. Whereas if you buy this, it may stay the same because it's made in America. They don't want to tell you that. You have options. You are in control of what you will or will not buy, not the company bringing it into America. The second question I heard that people didn't understand is like, why don't we just go and hit them with the same amount that they hit us? There's two reasons for that. One, it would basically collapse economies across the world quickly. Second reason is he's giving you an opportunity. It's a warning shot. See, you were getting away free and you were just milking us. Now we're hitting you back. We're reciprocating, not as hard, but nonetheless, it's 20, 30% back at you. So if you want to play, we're going to play, and we're going to hit you back. Now, what he's hoping for is that in the next couple of weeks, some of these companies, because this goes into effect tonight, some of these companies overseas will say, all right, we see what you just did. We know what it means long term. Let's cut a deal. Like you heard the guy from Canada say. Here's the tariff. It's in place. I'm not kidding. It could go up. But if you want to play ball, give me a call and let's see what we can come up with. You want me to reduce mine? Reduce yours. But now we know where we're starting at. And he can just keep going up if you piss him off. If he feels like you're not playing with us, you're in trouble. But the world economy, in terms of people shipping in, I don't know, let's say France shipping in wine or cheese or some of the stuff that France ships into America, that they rely on, that their country relies on American consumers. If there's less American consumers, you can't pay for anything because you don't have any money. And so don't play around because he could raise it whenever he wants to. So Nick Sortor, which I read this to you earlier, Nick had said that there's a possibility that they were going to mention the External Revenue Service today and start talking. See, I'm trying to see if I could find it, but I showed it earlier. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is something a lot of people were talking about today. Just in, President Trump is considering announcing the External Revenue Service today. He didn't announce that. I don't know why, but if I were to leverage a guess why it wasn't announced yet, because he also has to see, am I at the right point? Do I have enough water in this bucket where it makes a lot of sense? Because now over the next, 30 days, we're going to collect money. They're going to collect a whole lot of money. And they're going to create some jobs, and they're going to see what the effect is. And at this point, it's like trying to find that balance. And I think what they're going to do is see how much can we actually raise where we can reduce taxes. I think we'll see that. Want to show you something, because I said it before we started. And when I said it before we started, I wanted you guys to all remember when I show it afterwards. So what we're going to see over the next, 24 to 48 hours is a lot of manipulation, a lot of movement, a lot of different things happening. I want you to see this. This is the gold price right now. This is because gold trades basically 24 hours a day. It shot up right when he started talking. 4:15 p.m., boom, it just... bam, it went all the way up to here. It literally shot straight up. It dipped a little bit, and now it's going up again. So the prudent person over the next 24, 48 hours, the prudent person would have bought some gold yesterday. Because I told you what was going to happen. I just saying. Just saying. So now, wherever you are, whatever you're looking at, different pricing, and just hope you went and get grocery shopping today. Hope you went clothing shopping today. Because now what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks is that fluctuation. Some of you guys were talking about gas prices. Let me show you this. Let me see which window would be better to show you this with. I'm thinking this window. All right. I've mentioned it a couple times, but this is the website, GasBuddy.com. There's GasBuddy. GasBuddy has a full heat map across the entirety of America. And all you have to do, if you go to GasBuddy.com, the bright yellow is California, and they're screwing you. I mean, that's $4.64 a gallon. That's crazy. And then, you can just click around. Texas, $2.87. Down here where we are, Miami, $2.99. Up north, where's this? Westmoreland, wherever that is. Westmoreland, $3.44. Shelby. So all these different, you can just click around and see where the highest price is, or you can just look at the color. The color tells you the highest prices in the country. And right now, it's all in California. Remember, these people voted for this. The people, most of the people, if the election wasn't stolen, but this leftist coast here is paying the most for everything. This is California. This is Oregon. It's $3.74 a gallon. Let's look at another price here. Come on, get off of there. Where is this? This is somewhere in Oregon. Washington State. 4.21 cents a gallon. These people are getting screwed. These people on the West Coast are absolutely getting screwed. And then, of course, you can see where the different prices are. The deeper the blue, the cheaper it is. So this is Marion. I don't know what state this is. This is Texas, $2.70. Deep part of Texas, $2.80. Even up here in up north, $2.86. Down here around Orlando is $3, or so you can see where the different prices is according to the map. So you can begin watching that and seeing where what do the prices look like they're doing. Well, down here we're looking good. We're at about $2.99. I'll take that. I'll take that for now because it was close to $5. What was it in your area? You can begin looking and seeing what's going on. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening as the days move forward. And you don't have to make any moves right now. It's going to be a couple days before you actually see something close to you happen. But now just start watching. Now is the time to really start paying attention. You're going to see the media scream. You're going to see people on the left scream because they're worried about these other countries being hurt. They're not worried about Americans. You're going to hear it. I'm sure you put on any news channel. I'll have so much stuff to talk about tomorrow. It won't be funny. They're like, listen to what this idiot said. Blah, 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 blah. They don't want America prosperous. There's no doubt at this point. What you're going to see on any of these newscasts is how bad this is for Americans. When the funny part about it was, it's just reciprocating. They've already been charging us. That chart he showed you, when he held up that chart, he should have had like I don't know, some sort of reveal and say, here's what they're charging us right now. This is what you're having to pay solely because you're an American. No other reason. I hope they publish that chart somewhere online. Let me go to the Trump team and see if they've actually posted it, because people are going to download it and make posters out of that. Oh yeah, there it is. All right, so I can bring it up and show you. Well, actually, kind of, but yeah, you can see it. Let's go ahead and move this into its own window, so I can move the window around and we can see half the chart. All right, let's look at this. Forget the stuff on the right. The column in the right is what Trump is going to hit them back with. the chart on the left, the column on the left, that's what they're already charging us. So when the media starts screaming, like, wait a minute, so China can charge us 67. That's okay with y'all. But we can't charge 34. European Union can hit us with 39%, but we can't hit them with 20. Vietnam, they're slamming us for 90%, but we can't hit them with 45. These are questions you have to ask your friends on the left who start screaming tonight or tomorrow. So you're saying all these things on the left are fine. Oh yeah, because it's fair share. We need to let these other countries feed off America. And remember, all of this is in addition to whatever USAID stuff has been sent out. So you can just go down the list here. I won't take the time to read it all. You guys can see it. But 64%, Japan 46%, India, South Korea 50%, Thailand 72%, and on and on. Cambodia 97%. And this is just these countries. There's a whole nother chart because I can bring up the second. Oh, actually, I can bring up the second chart. Here's the second chart. Boom. Peru, Nicaragua, Norway, all of them are charging us. We weren't charging anything. Why is it that Morocco? Why is it that Botswana? Why is it that Laos, all the Guatemala, Madagascar, Pakistan? Why are these people all charging us and the media and the Democrats are completely fine? That's the question you need to be asking. That's the question all Americans should be asking. Wait a minute. They've been hitting us, and now you're mad because Trump's hitting back? What kind of an American are you who just want Americans bent over a barrel? You want Americans to drop their pants and bend over? But as soon as President Trump says, no, we're not playing this game anymore, we're going to hit back, all hell's going to break loose. Oh my God, I can't believe what Trump's doing. None of these countries need to be doing what they're doing. Not a single country needs to be doing what they're doing other than the fact they want American money. So when you see this, New Zealand charging us 20%. Well, why? Why is New Zealand taking 20% of our money? The media's not talking about that. Everybody, as I showed you, these countries are all been feeding off of you. Every single one of these countries have been taking money out of your pocket for years. In addition to all the USAID stuff, this is just stuff on consumption. This is just taxes on goods. Never mind the money we've been doling out. I want you to digest that. The media is going to complain. The Democrats are probably already out there complaining, and not one of them are saying, well, yeah, I understand, that China's taking 67% more out of your pocket, but we shouldn't. We charging them 34%. Oh my God. How much of an idiot do you have to be? How much of a communist? Because now we're talking the real thing. How much of a communist, Marxist, socialist scumbag do you have to be to have Americans see this chart and say, well, we didn't have any problem with that. We have a problem that Trump's trying to equalize the game. Make that make sense with any liberal that you know. Any liberal that's complaining. Any liberal that's out there at this point saying Trump bad. I can't answer the question how these people are so much under the propaganda and gaslighting of so many people to say that this is bad, but the other country is good. It's crazy. China, they're going to still be taking more from us because right now it's negotiation time. All those countries, you have to understand, all those countries, they need you. They need the American consumer. And they've gotten fat and happy off the American consumer. And Trump's like, I'm not going to let you take advantage of Americans that much anymore. We're going to hit you back. So let's negotiate at this point. What are you going to give me so I can give it to my people? Otherwise, it's going up. You see, from a good negotiation point, you don't want to start at 90%. Because at 90%, there's no room to move. So if I start and I hit you at 35 and you still don't do anything, now I can go to 45. How you like that? We're okay. Now I'm going to hit you at 60. See, it gives him room to inflict more pain on them, not us. The media is going to tell you otherwise, but not a single one of them will explain why is it okay that they're doing it. America has been trapped into supporting the world. Yep, that's the answer. That's the answer. They figured whoever they is, whatever kind of cabal came up and said, these Americans are really stupid. We're going to tax the hell out of them. And in addition to taxing the hell out of them, we're going to charge them even more on the goods to get their money every time they go to a store. And they're going to keep doing it because we're going to pay off the politicians and no one's going to know. We're just going to keep hitting these Americans. Stupid Americans. You know, all of this stuff they're building in other countries. That's where the money's coming from. And so England, just go look. What is their gross domestic product? What are they making? What is England making? What are they making in, Cambodia? And where are they selling? They're selling to us. We're the biggest consumer market in the world. Well, maybe China, but that's different. They're communist. So, it's crazy. Buy American. You want to fight back? That's it. Buy American. Don't let them keep hitting you. You now know, going to the store, if you turn over something and it says made in, you now know that they're taking advantage of America. Many people didn't realize it. Now you've got the chart. Now you can yourself refer to this chart, tell your friends, and put it, hang it in your room, do something, go, okay, I'm going to the store today. Let me look on the back here. This thing has looked like it's made in India. India? Oh, India's charging me 52% more just for buying this thing. Maybe I don't need to buy this from India. Maybe I need to find a company that builds this in America. We don't want you to do that. You bad. Why do you want to keep your own money? You're fascist. You're Nazi. You're racist. The poor peoples in Botswana, they need to make your money. Yeah. Did we actually collect the tariffs from China? People told me U.S. has never gotten anything. That was what I was saying earlier. You keep telling us stuff. I don't know. I don't know where the money's been going. So at this point, everything that you're seeing, England charges us 10% to sell into England. We now charge them 10% to sell in our country. Yeah, that's reciprocal. Some of the countries were full. Oh, let me show you. Some of these countries were fully reciprocal. Like, hold on, let me get this on the screen. 1 second. I'm just got to remove that comment so you guys can see. Some of these are fully reciprocal. If you go to the second page, like here, this one here, 10%. United Kingdom, 10-10. Brazil, 10-10. Singapore, 10-10. Chile, 10-10. Australia, 10-10. Turkey, 10-10. Colombia, 10-10. Second page, you got Peru. They're even. Dominican Republic, UAE, Argentina, and so on and so on. But that's just as of today. Yesterday, all those countries were charging us, and we were not charging them. They were freeloading on you. The media won't discuss that. And the reason I keep bringing up the media and the left is because these people are too stupid to understand what is actually going. Actually, no, they're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that they're bamboozling you. They know that what they need to do is keep these people who are on the left in mushrooms and in the dark and feed them a lot of BS because they're going to be happy. They're going to be okay. They don't even want to know what's going on. It's funny, SV sent me something, and I saw this, and I just shook my head that this actually is something. let me show you before we go how bad it really is. Brace yourself for this. Elon Musk and Doge recovered a terabyte of financial data that the government was trying to delete. Every news station in the country should be covering this, yet they're not. So just to know what a terabyte is, let me just put it this way. Terabyte is a whole shitload of data. We're not talking videos, we're not talking images, we're not talking audio files, we're talking numbers and spreadsheets and things like that. A terabyte of that stuff is huge. Guess how they got it? Guess how they found it? Because people were hitting delete because they didn't want you to know what's been going on. Well, Big Balls and the boys were able to recover it. Otherwise, you'd never know. Yes, that should be something that everybody should be covering, but they're not. They're not covering it. It's so bad. So just understand you're armed with everything. I don't want to be someone that people think is making up stuff. So you can go look. You can go look at Gas Buddy. You can go look at that chart and see what the tariffs are. Media's not going to show that. Educate yourself. That's what I was saying earlier. Right now, in this somewhat probably going to be volatile time, invest in yourself. Even if you don't have a dime to put on gold, you don't have a dime to put on silver, you can't buy stock, invest up here so that at least you know what the hell is going on. Because it's crazy. There's going to be a lot of money. I'm telling you right now, there is going to be a lot of money made very, very quickly in a short period of time. If that's not you, that's okay. At least be safe. Watch your 401k. Do you know who your 401k is managed by and what are they investing in? See, a lot of people don't do that. They don't know that. They don't know what's in that 401k or who they're invested in. And so, I see this kind of thing, Christopher Smock, about January 6 files, and I keep seeing stuff about, people talking about the Epstein files, and I'm like, stop looking at the appetizers. That's going to be there. Those are going to be there. Those are distractions at this point. I don't know, maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm cut from a different cloth because I look at this kind of stuff, and this affects people right now. There's nothing from the January 6th information that affects you right now. There's nothing from the Epstein files that affects you right now. Everything we're seeing right now affects you. It affects you everything you do. It affects the clothes that you're going to buy. It affects the food that you're going to buy. It affects the vehicle that you're going to buy. It affects the gas you put in that vehicle. This is stuff that you block out the noise and focus on the signal. Block out this crap and get yourself in order. You're going to hear so many people about Pam Bondi's not doing it. I don't give a shit what Pam Bondi's doing right now. I really don't. That's secondary because what's most important to me today is making sure that that woman out there is taken care of, that daughter is taken care of, and those grandkids, and I need to know, what's going on right now? They may not even talk about this in the media. They may just want it to go away as fast as possible. You can't do that. I know some people get uncomfortable talking about money and things of that nature, but with everything we've seen, and even yesterday with somehow the judge in Wisconsin winning that election, they're not giving up. They're not at all going to stop trying to take down America. So what are you going to do to put yourself in a position that you can be resilient? The January 6 files, the Epstein files, the Diddy files, none of that's going to help you become more resilient. It'll happen when it happens. Focus on you. Focus on your family. That way you've got the information to know, hey, when everyone starts talking about this happening or that happening, be a little bit intrinsically selfish right now. Take care of you because nobody else is going to. This weekend, I'm going to have to go to my first protest with a camera. You know they've got this huge protest planned across the country, again, against Elon Musk and Trump. And it's Hold Off 2025. You can look it up. Go to holdoff2025.com. Let me show you this. This is kind of interesting. So they're hoping. Don't know how they're funded, but hold off. You're going to get a good kick out of this. Holdoff2025.com. I want you to see this because you can actually. Did I spell it wrong? Or did their site go down? Hold off 2025. But anyway, they're holding protest around the country. And around the country, they're going to be doing all kinds of different things. And these idiots have decided they're going to put up a map. And the map is going to show you where everything is. I can't bring it up right this minute. Hold off or stop 2020. Whatever, the big rallies. I think I posted it on my, I did. Hold on, let me find it. All I got to do is go to my Twitter profile because I posted something about it and I can show it to you. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay. If you guys haven't seen this, you may want to take a look at it. And it says, looks like I'll be covering my first live protest this week, and these idiots are going to try and do one of these down here. And so this woman, you can go on my profile, you can do it, and they're doing this on their website. Maybe I said it wrong. Hold on, let me see if she says what their website is. April 5th, the movement is going to be on Hands Off 2025. All right, so it's called Hands Off 2025. My bad. Hands Off 2025.com. Yes, now we have it. There we go. Handsoff2025.com. Let's go ahead and check to this window. Hands Off 20, a national day of action on Saturday, April 5th. And you can, somewhere on here I found a map. Oh, there's their map. There's their map of all of the protests they have planned this Saturday. So you can just go on this website and go, hey, where are you guys going to be near me? So I was able to go on here earlier. Let me move it and look at South Florida. I'm like, oh, so y'all plan on coming here? Well, guess what? I'm gonna have to go see y'all because I think it's one of these. That's Palm Beach Gardens. That means that we're down here. There we go. Hands Off Boca Raton. You guys probably can't see it. April 5th at the Boca Raton City Hall. Good luck with that. I'll be there. I'll be taking some pictures of you. But you guys can go on this website and pretty much go anywhere in the country and see where they're planning on doing something. They decided, don't know who's giving them the money, but you can see here they're planning on doing stuff just about everywhere in the country. Imagine that. For some reason, they're not in it. Oh, that's probably desert. But all over California and all basically over the entire country. So these people don't care about you. So go to handsoff2025.com and you'll be able to see coming soon to a town near you for sure. Investing is like hockey. It's about where the puck is going. Yeah. They do not have millions protesting. They have a few thousand. They are a fringe group. Yeah, I can't wait to take pictures. Down here in Boca, if they have more than 20 people, I will be amazed. It's like, are you kidding me? This ain't no protest. This is a coffee shop, you idiots. Yeah, boy, that's costing the Dems a lot of money. Yeah, you should go. Yeah, I'm going to. If I get a signal, I'll probably have to use my phone, and I'll definitely go live and show you guys some stuff. See if Robin wants to come with me. It'll be funny. All right, so I'm not interested in watching old people all day. Hippies, yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna do obviously a 7 o'clock show because it's already 5:30, and that wouldn't really make any sense. So let me go ahead and look at super chats before I get out of here, and we'll do hoodies tomorrow. Another reason why I'm going to get out of here earlier today and not do a second show is because I got some work to do. I got to fix the hoodies website, and fix that so you guys can still sign up. It's not over. I just didn't have a chance to update it. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Oh, I forgot. Before I do that, I got to talk to you about Patriot Addict. And so we're going to do Patriot Addict real quick. Everybody who has sent me emails, not everybody, but a lot of people have sent me emails that they've had problems with Patriot Addict boxes or they got the wrong thing. Ashley and I are working with them to help them get their customer service back up to speed. And so whatever we can do, I told people, just go ahead and email showmail at fanfareshop.org. From there, I have been forwarding that over to everybody. And from there, we can actually try to stop some of these problems. But I want you to know, I don't have it yet, but they've got something else. You know, I've talked about the knives quite a bit. That's still here. And I got to get a different website for that. But we're also doing blankets now. They decided they were going to print up big, giant Trump blankets. They sent me one. I still haven't received it yet. So next show, hopefully, or next couple of days, I'll have that. It says, this blanket is pissing liberals off, and it's hilarious. You can see a picture of it right here next to the QR code. Right over, let's see, move my hand. Yeah, I can't, but you can see it. Patriot Addict is with another exclusive release for a limited time only. They're giving away these free Trump presidential blankets. Free. No hidden charges, no recurring fees, none of that BS. Just cover a small shipping fee and it's yours. The blanket is gorgeous, thick, warm, and decked out with patriotic pride. Just imagine wrapping yourself in this blanket every night. It's more than just a blanket. It's a bold symbol of America's comeback and real leadership. Let's be honest. It drives liberals absolutely nuts every time they see it on your couch or hanging in your home. Why liberals would be in your home or watching your couch, that's another thing. We'll figure that out. Patriot Addict is doing this to show their support for Trump in these challenging times and to make room in their warehouse. But this offer is only available to my viewers here, you guys in the Fanfare family. And it's moving fast. Don't wait. Scan the QR code now, right over here, or head over to the link posted in the chat to claim your Trump blanket before they're all gone. I'd rather you just go ahead and scan the QR code because at this point don't have the link available. So scan the QR code. You know, stuff is happening so fast with Patriot Addict, and you guys have responded so well. It's hard getting everything. They didn't expect the kind of response you guys have been having. And obviously, because somehow I got inserted into their customer service mess, and then, but you know, you do the work, you do the work. I brought them on, so I got to make sure you guys are okay. All right, so let's look at Super Chats. Wow, got a couple here that I want to talk to. I am Planet Hermit. Thank you. We need to be more disciplined in the future. American made will be cheaper. Yep, shop around. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. And this one is from Gasworks. Hey, man, thank you. Way to go, President Trump and Bering crew. I'm ready to absorb as much as necessary, but do long for the criminals behind this mess to start paying for the destruction they've caused, including politicians inciting violence. I completely agree with you. I want to see arrests just as much as everybody else does. I truly do. But right now, be intrinsically selfish. Focus on you and your family. That stuff will happen with everything going on right now. Now is a good time to start being just a wee bit selfish. Make sure the family is taken care of. Make sure the dog is taken care of. Make sure everybody that counts on you understands when they have the question, what do we do when this happens? Should we do this? Get those answers for your family. Let's see here. This is from Job for 9. No complaints here. Gold is up again. I keep telling y'all. Moshe, I called that an X post that Liberation Day was the external revenue system. It's coming. I believe it's coming. Maximus Barry thought I'd let you know, especially for anyone in law enforcement. Delete me. Cannot scrub certain sites that have your job info along with personal info. Delete me. Don't know what that means. But thank you. Gen V, self-control is the biggest predictor of success, short-term denial, or pain for long-term gain. I've been doing this all my life. Yep, every single one of us. You go on a diet, it's not fun until you lose the weight. But they make it seem like, it's obnoxious. I think our poll was almost, let me just look. I think our poll was like 95, 94%. Barry is right. Kelly, thank you. Barry is right. MSCMB. Mainstream media equals doom and gloom all the time. Job for 9. Are you ready for what's to come? I love Creed. Sapphire, thank you. GD Biddy, change for policing the world. Take it off our debt. Yeah. That would be funny. Take it off what we owe you. Truth be told, thank you. Sunny Calgal, Barry, thank you. Thank you. Evzanis family, what a present. Love from Europe. Thank you. Queen 22, thank you, Barry. I'm looking forward to your content. Thank you very much. Fazul, I got your email. The boss is the boss is the boss. He is. Tarera Garakani, thank you, President Trump. Barry, thank you for bringing the real news with perfect commentary to us. Appreciate you and your team very much. Thank you very much. Job for 9 again. Barry, I believe we are on our back to the gold standard. People buy gold. I can't tell people, but we can show them. And so job for 9. Yes, keep telling people. Kimmy, thank you. Christine, where'd that go? Promises made, promises kept. I love you, President DJT. Thank you very much. Jack Weiser, just love the truth that your news brings to America. Thank you and your staff. I really appreciate that because I don't want to be like them. I want to show you stuff and let you stimulate your mind to go look and start digging deeper. And you know what's funny? It's I can't tell you how many people will email me and say, Barry, I found this, or Barry, I found that. And hey, you were wrong about this. Hey, have you seen this? I just love that. I just think that's just awesome that people are digging. Where are we? Edward Sadowski, thank you very much. Patty Siebold, love our president. I supported President Trump for all 3 elections. Indeed. Tanaya, how are you? To those who doubt our president's decisions, at least give it time for our country to improve and prosper, and it will before you talk crap. Absolutely. And Ken Romolino, when stocks go down, gold goes up. I would get in gold no matter what. Love that you guys are being astute about this. Mel Porter, what's going on with Chief Justice Roberts and Pam Bundy? Not really sure, but like I said, worry about your family at this point. See, that's most important. Start worrying because it's going to get volatile. They are intentionally going to make it volatile, which is going to be, problematic. So I would definitely make sure. Maximus came back. He was explaining his earlier. Didn't explain. Delete Me is a service you pay for to remove your personal info from the internet. Gotcha. All right. Gotcha. Understand that. Yeah. Wait a minute. Something else just came in. Carmen Flores, I can't stop thinking about our debt and what you said at the beginning of the show. Again, it's just me asking myself questions. I know who I owe money to. You never forget who you owe money to, whether it's a friend that gave you $20 or a bank that gave you a couple $100,000. You have some documentation. There's something that says you owe money. Who signed it? What did we get? Where did it come from? Where did it go? And then all we know is, Americans, as we look at this thing, it says, oh, you're $36 trillion in debt. Like, can anybody show me where that money came from? Where it went? When it was borrowed? What's the interest payment? How often does it have to be paid? What are the terms? If you go to your bank and say, I need a $5,000 loan, they're going to say, okay, we're going to give you, it's due X date, and here's the interest payment, and here's your monthly payment or quarterly payment or whatever. We don't know any of this. We're just told you owe this, you owe all this money. Oh, so we still owe this money, and we're giving it more to you by USAID, and you're tariffing us. At some point, we got to just start playing the Elon Musk gif and saying, go after yourself. And what are you going to do? I'm just saying. Jose Gonzalez, thank you. You said, Barry, where do you buy gold? Well, me personally, I'm a little bit, partial to these guys. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. I saw a couple of comments where people were like, that was well timed. I had nothing to do with it. The guy asked a question. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. Perfect timing for him to do that. So again, it's 5:45. I won't be coming out at 7. We're going to have to do with this video just for today. And then, no, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go have dinner and then walk the dogs. And I'll probably put up a excerpt video or two. I may drop 2 videos tonight. Videos that were cut from our various different live streams, so we might do that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys at 12 o'clock tomorrow. I'm pretty sure, live 12 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure Caroline Levitt may have a press conference because, oh boy, everybody's head's going to be exploding. All right, so see you guys live tomorrow at noon, and then tonight, there'll be a couple of videos I'll probably drop. One about 7:30, one about 9:30. So I'd love for you guys to take a view at these. Maybe we'll do a premiere party. Maybe we'll try that. In any event, here comes the after party. Thanks for tuning in.